Hi everyone. My name is Olivia Wami, and thank you for having me today. I'm excited to be here. Today, I want to discuss ITSM framework. That if you're not familiar with the term ITSM, that simply means IT service management. So, which I just want us to discuss ITSM framework for today, and sure, it's really going to be interesting. The last time I discussed ITIL and everything about ITIL, but moving forward, we would get to understand why these two pieces are somewhat linked together. So, information technology service management is actually an established set of well-defined services that focuses on managing IT infrastructure, business components, application, and all of that. So it's being used by many industry groups who have like a well-defined recommendation on the services and processes core frameworks that can be used to solve um, different business needs or requirements. And the truth about IT service management is when you actually apply it properly to your solutions, it actually helps IT operations team to successfully manage progressively more complex hybrid environment and kind of accelerate the delivery of cloud services. So the solutions somewhat provide advanced automation, performance management, and all of that. So, not really going to waste much time because if you're new to my channel, you might just need to go back to our previous discussions to kind of get yourself up to date. Once again, my name is Olivia Wami. I'm a service manager, and this is just my way of bringing that bit of knowledge to persons who are moving into service management was or already transitioning to that. So we have couple of characteristics of ITSM. Same thing as every other thing out there. Of course, what really makes this stand out and all. So before I move to that, now, it's good to remember that the IT service management consists of activities, tools, processes, and policies that businesses and organizations use to deliver IT services. So it can be all over the department, or it can be in department like HR and finance. And the truth is, IT remains the most dominant use case for service management framework. So, what are really these characteristics? Just like you can see on my screen, with ITSM, there is assistance for engineering and operations domains. There's assistance for agile and waterfall DevOps integration. As we all know, with the ITIL 4, we have something called DevOps. I'm very sure a lot of us in the IT space have been hearing about DevOps and all of that. So with ITSM, you are able to integrate both Agile and Waterfall DevOps, the framework by which you have effective and service, and you also measure your value and techniques, tools, processes through which IT departments support and empower their environment to deliver business services and so much. There is a lot of reasons why you should consider using frameworks if you're offering any sort of IT service. But if you feel there really isn't any need for you to adopt, any of the frameworks, moving forward in this discussion, you're going to see the reasons why it is important and why we advise that you use a framework in delivering your IT services. Now, what exactly is an information technology service management framework? Yeah, so um, ITSM framework focuses on the service rather than the systems. That's one of the things we need to put in our mind. And ITSM also emphasizes approaches that are led by processes. Trust me, when you have processes in place, it actually makes your work really, really easy. And these processes kind of consist of sets of best practices, which we call frameworks. Now, for persons in the IT space where you work with the developers, you work with project managers, you also work with product managers, and as well as service managers as well. You get to work with a couple of frameworks, especially for project managers who have to work with frameworks like the Agile framework, the Waterfall, and methodology rather, not a framework. They are able to choose which methodology to work with, either Agile or Waterfall. And in those methodology, we have other frameworks which helps makes life really seamless and task seamless as well. Now, for ITSM framework, which refers to collection, process, and practices that are needed to manage and support information technology services. And the framework supports the full spectrum of IT services, right from the network, the application, the complete business services in a vendor independent manner. So we have heard how this frameworks kind of helps us. It doesn't really help a particular part of the service, but rather all of its spectrum. So of every area of your service it covers as well. So looking at IT service management frameworks, what are the frameworks we have? We have a lot of frameworks, as you can see on my screen. There are a lot, a lot of them, but several frameworks are standard, right? There are a lot that more popular than the rest. And some of them are the ITIL, the IT for IT, the ETOM or COBAT contributes to defining standard operation techniques and supporting services within establishments while providing value and efficiency gain for the IT operation team. So if you go back to my last discussion, you'd actually get to really understand what I'm trying to say more. And though you would need to watch this video before that, but I would say after you are done watching this video, you would need to see, go back and kind of watch the previous one just to really understand where all of this is really going, especially if you're new to IT service management. This is really going to help. I would say it will help because this is just me giving you a first-hand experience of how I navigated with little to no knowledge of what I was getting into actually. So along with frameworks like DevOps, Lean, and Control Objective for you know and the core bits, the most popular and widely used ITSM framework is called the ITIL, which is Information Technology Infrastructure Library, which a lot of us in IT service management would have heard about. And like we all know, ITU actually aims at improving IT support to IT delivery to support multiple business objectives. Trust me, these frameworks are not in any particular order. So these are just the ones I decided to share with you today. You can still, you know, go on your own, still look at them. If you feel you didn't get more information from me, you can also leave a message for me on the comment section and I'm going to reply as well. So the first one we'll look at is the ITIL framework, which we are all familiar with. Remember that each framework has its own range of possibilities and the approach that is distinctive, which can help cater to an organization's unique challenges. So while the ITIL is popular, we also need to understand that all of these frameworks come with their own possibilities. So it has to do with um, what really suits your business, what really suits your business needs, and all of that. So Information Technology Infrastructure Library, also known as ITIL, which is the commonly used framework, relates to service life cycle, and it's effective for aligning IT efforts with business needs and instructing organizations on how to best use their IT service. Now, the process normally details how to develop a strategy and a design, manage change, handle service operations and management, and ensure the most important, which is continual improvement. Now we have couple of libraries in ITIL. You can call them 5 libraries. You can call them the life cycle. We have the service we have the service design, we have the service strategy. Okay, let me just say that in the right order. So we have continuous service improvement, which actually revolves around all other all other life cycle. We have the service strategy, the service design, the service operation, and the service transition. So all of this just simply helps the business to kind of improve its operations as quickly as better as it can get. So next we have the core bits, which is called the control objectives for information related technologies. So I know it's a lot of word, but you can just use, the abbreviation for it. So this framework is actually designed to unify an organization's practice, and it normally includes resources for building, monitoring and improving practices upon implementation, and providing solutions to assist with risk management. So COBIT often coexist with other frameworks such as ITIL and TOGAF. So if you work in an organization that kind of put the two together, you need to just know beforehand that they actually coexist. So it's possible. It's actually they're going to work together. So Cobalt's core model includes like 40 management and governance objective to assist organizations with aligning business goal with IT goals, which is very, very important. It's something that we really need to think about while choosing a framework. Your business goals needs to align with your IT goals, and your framework you also need to establish like a solid governance framework as well. And it's also possible to navigate information governance, risk management, which Cobalt really takes seriously, and security. So next we have the ITOM, which is the Enhanced Telecom Operations Map. And this framework is specifically for enterprise processes in the telecommunication industry. So remember, you use this framework for service management. All of these frameworks are used for service management. I remember what I say previously, right at the beginning um, of this discussion. Now, the purpose of the framework is to support all spectrum of the IT services, right from the network, the application, and the complete business service as well. So the entire framework of ITSM consists of best practices, consists of models, standard of set of standards, or and all of which are arranged in 3 levels of processes in a hierarchy. So ITSM framework has like major process areas, and those process areas are strategy, infrastructure and product, operations, enterprise management. So those are the 3 core areas or major processes that the ITSM framework focuses on. And each of these process areas kind of provide different value and guidelines to the organization, from ways to support customers to details on how to manage the business. So if you're adopting ITOM across the enterprise, it also aids in better communication between employees and things due to the standardization of definition and the uniform language. Remember, this is going to really thrive well. This framework is really going to thrive well in the telecommunication industry. So next we have the MOF, which some of us may not have come across before now, but the MOF is also called Microsoft Operations Framework. And the overall purpose of this framework is to create an environment that allows business and IT work together effectively to achieve operational maturity. So that's a really interesting one. It's not just coming, it has like, this is what MOF is trying to do, operational maturity, which some services do not actually get, to meet at some point during the start or end, sometimes never and all. So MOF actually includes a process model that's divided into four quadrants. We have the changing quadrant, the operating quadrant, optimizing quadrant, and the supporting quadrants. I may not be able to, dive into this a lot, but with time, I think I'll just, depending on your feedback, if you want to find out more on any of these frameworks, you can just leave that on the comment section, and I'll put together, another session that we can have while I discuss it in detail. So we still have others to look at. We have another framework that actually helps with IT service management, and which is DevOps. DevOps, which is simply the combination of software development, which is dev, and IT operations. So we know that if you work in a software organization, you would have heard about DevOps, which is a software product development methodology. So DevOps brings together an unattached set of principles and uniting them based on the business needs of the organization. So that's why it really came into, a part of being a framework for service management. So next we have the TOGAF, which is the Open Group Architecture Framework. And this framework improve business efficiency and kind of create structures for implementing new technology. So the core of TOGAF is architecture development method. And the objective of this method is to assist in establishing clear processes regarding life cycle enterprise architecture. So it has four domains, just like, the other frameworks. And these domains are the application architecture, the business architecture, data architecture, and technical architecture. Remember, I won't be able to talk so much about them, but if you would like me to talk more, I please leave that on the comment section, and would put that together. We also have the FITS SM, which is a standard for lightweight service management. So it streamlines service management framework. Typically, it aligns itself with ISO, which is requirements for a service management system, and as well as the ITIL as well. So although the FITS SM process method, requirements, recommendation, activities, and role model targets a lightweight implementation, it can act as first step to introducing full ITSM. So let's say you're applying ITIL good practices or achieving compliance with ISO 2000. ISO or IEC 2000. So the that's what FITS SM actually does. So you can introduce it a bit, right? It's like something you use when you're still trying to really decide what exactly you're going to do with the with simply improving your service and all. So the Six Sigma is simply it's actually a popular management framework, and organizations may actually apply to a variety of disciplines. But with Six Sigma, organizations use what they learn from the data to reduce defects in services and products, creating overall best products for the organization and improving value provided to customers. So Six Sigma actually focuses on data, using data to kind of put together how any of it things work, like what is happening. We need our data to make sure that we don't have defects in our service, defects in our products, as well as in doing that also you're making sure that they are improving the value for provided to their customers as well. Now, knowing the most popular framework and processes implemented by other organizations to kind of say we want to understand what is really happening, right? That this actually brings us to the benefits. So for those of us looking for a career in ITSM or for establishments offering ITSM supports, knowing which framework and processes are more viable and popular helps to identify potential employers or customers rather. So for example, is why ITIL is like a colossal name in ITSM framework. It is also good to know that there are other popular, there are other popular frameworks out there that can do what you need um, a framework to essentially do for you. So let's look at some of the benefits of ITSM framework. There are actually just a few are listed here, but there are really a lot of them out there. So um, IT departments and employees in many establishments are not really capable of accomplishing tasks on a well-timed basis due to, impromptu work at all times, taking precedence over work that is planned. And this is where ITIL comes in. So ITIL can help an organization close this circle, this unremitting circle, giving a clear emphasis to the total cost of ownership. So I'm not preaching for ITIL, but because I'm familiar with ITIL, so I really understand what I'm talking about. And if you successfully adopt ITIL with the ITSM management, these are the things that you will be able to get out of it. You have best practice improvements, best practice processes for like upgraded IT services, supporting hiring and training efforts, streamlining decision making, reducing IT risk, providing guidance and structure for IT, improving efficiency, and so on. So there really is a lot of benefits of using the ITSM framework out there. But let's now talk about why I feel ITIL is the best ITSM framework out there. Remember, I'm not pitching for ITIL. I'm just trying to give you a clear understanding of what I have, kind of seen, noticed while using the ITIL framework. So any ITIL process or ITIL framework, ITIL process is varied and comprises many aspects of ITIL really. So instead of, let's say, introducing the full set of IT references together, now it's very important to an organization to pinpoint what needs to be addressed with immediate effect and begin there. So we have like three common methodologies for establishing and implementing ITIL, which are providing better support, enabling business change, and providing better services as well. So we have like a history of ITIL. Remember, if you're familiar with the ITIL framework, you know that it was developed by the British government. We have couple of versions of ITIL as well, which some of us may have, yeah, I should say we would have heard about it really, because if you think you're going to, in fact, if you decide you want to be using ITU, of course you would have done you would have done your research, and you'd have found out that ITU actually has a lot of versions, and several of those versions had happened because of, for my belief, is because of the ever changing the ever-changing world requires business needs, especially business needs actually. So currently we have the ITIL 4, which was released in 2019, just a couple of years ago. I don't think it's even a couple, just about 3 years ago, or yeah, I think I should say 3 years ago. So it kind of accommodates and responds appropriately to modern technology tools and software. So with the ITU process and framework, the IT unit or your IT department has developed to become essential to every business, helping them to be more agile, collective, and flexible, which is one thing that the ITU 4 achieved, just to make those services agile, just to make them really flexible. So we have the ITIL framework actually has 9 principles. Those principles are focused on value, design for experience, start where you are, work holistically, keep it simple, and so on. So really, remember, I'm not pitching for ITU, just really to tell us that yeah, ITU actually work. With ITU framework, ideas include ideas like delivery of valued service offering, catering to customer needs, and accomplishing business goal is possible. So regardless of the individuality of each organization, ITU offers guidance for achieving these goals and meets measuring success with KPI as well. So how do we implement the right ITIL process? So we have 5 processes of ITIL. We have the service strategy, which simply talks about you planning the business goal and customer requirements. We have the service transition, which focuses on transitioning plans into action items to help the business. And I have discussed ITIL um, in my last discussion. So you can still get more information about ITU in my last just actually in my playlist rather. So we also have the service transition, which is applying services within the business ecosystem. We have the service operation, which describes key processes associated with the IT service management. And we have the continuous service improvements, which helps IT users appraise and bring in IT service enhancement. So the interesting part of the IT framework is with the IT continuous service improvement, you get to you get to like look at your services, you have to like measure them, you have to kind of report on them, and just basically there's continuous service improvement at every other process on um at every other IT process rather. So now, we know that ITIL's acceptance is like a part of the reason why it gets mixed up with ITSM, which is something that I think most of us may have noticed. So sometimes people actually mistake ITSM as ITIL and ITIL as ITSM, while it's actually wrong. So we have IT service management and we have ITIL, which is a framework used in achieving, used in IT service management rather. So let's look at the benefits of ITIL framework. We have a lot of benefits while you're using the ITIL framework. Now, maybe you would say that all of this I actually have on my screen is not true, or maybe you have like a different concern, or you're not really sure really with the ITIL framework. But trust me, what you can see on my screen, there really are the benefits of using the ITIL framework. So you have the improved and specialized approach to delivering services, leading to improved customer gratification. So I can say firsthand that that is the first and foremost with your service, and using ITIL to actually implement that service, it works. You actually improve your customer gratification. There is also reduced hidden costs, and you have reduced training costs as well. There is actually a greater ability to manage and curtail business risk, service interruption, or failure. Why? Is because at every at every process you're able to go through the continuous service improvements where you're measuring, you're recording, and all of that has to do with continual improvement. So you're able to really tell very fast if there is a problem while you're moving towards while you're on any of the process stage. And there is as also reduce redundant work and make the right use of resources as well. So using ITIL, you actually have like there's a reduction of repetitive tasks. Something like somebody is not able to log into their email accounts, or someone is not able to kind of get into get into your a website or something, just something that it's really that happens. You can say it happens all the time, so it's something that people are familiar with. So with ITIL, you're able to kind of automate resolving those kind of issue. So like I said, you know we actually mistake ITSM. Some of us mistake ITIL with ITSM and ITSM with ITIL. So now the thing is for me that ITIL is the ITSM framework used by organizations. So it can be used by organization of any size, any industry or sector across the world. And while it is common to see ITIL as the most implemented, in large organizations, ITIL also works in bringing value to small and medium-sized organizations as well. So if at any point, like I said, you feel you still need more information on this, please leave a message on the chat box. I would like to hear from you. You can also reach me on any of the contacts you can see here: Facebook, WhatsApp. You can also send me a message if you would prefer. You can send me a message, we can talk, we can actually have a video call if you feel that's also best. Remember, my name is Olivia Wami. I am a service manager who has been using the ITIL framework for over a few years now. So thank you. This is where I come to the end of my session today. Remember, we talked about the ITSM framework, otherwise known as the IT service management. It's my pleasure being here, and I hope you all enjoyed this session. If you haven't subscribed, remember to hit that bell or the subscribe button and to get notified whenever new videos pop up. This channel is not just for service managers, but also for project and product managers, as well as UI designers, because I want to actually bring in more persons who would be working with me, just so to help persons who are coming into the tech space to kind of navigate the tech space very easily and very quickly. To enjoy, and thank you once again. Cheers.